world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please hit that subscribe button if you like any of the content, anything any information that's being presented, previewed, recap, analyzed, so on and so forth. Become a subscriber to the channel, hit the like button, share the content, text me, whatever. As the title suggested or stated, it's Canelo fight week. I'm gonna be a lot different than a lot of my peers in speaking on this because the one thing that that's not lost on me as we move towards fight night Saturday down in Miami. I think it's at the Hard Rock Stadium or whatever. Boxing is a lot of boxing is in is gridlock, or what they call it, what's the word? A lot of boxing is just in a traffic jam, so to speak. A lot of moves in boxing really don't have any solutions or any way forward for us to see some of our favorite fighters. So the one thing that I see in this fight, while the matchup itself in Canelo versus Yildirim, while the matchup isn't all that captivating, I'll give you that. It is a bit intriguing if you look at the whole timeline coming out of the last fight and going into this one, and then what's out there on the horizon if they go through with the Billy Joe Saunders fight, which has been agreed to. So and for May. So if you look at it from that perspective, there are some interesting things. And like I said over the weekend, if you talk about a veteran guy disrupting his normal work schedule with Canelo trying to make up for lost time, there is an angle in there that's kind of unique. But again, like I said, the one thing that I find some solace in with this event is that Canelo is figuring out how to do business. He's figuring out how to do work. And one cat that I checked out a bit of a video, I misunderstood what the video was about, but one cat that I checked out some of his content, I get to do some credit for questioning what's going on with Adrian Broner. I didn't really see any benefit in stating my full thoughts on what about Broner, but the brother was asking. He mentioned that he didn't think that Adrian Broner was into fighting. That like he really cared. He just going through the motions, and that's basically where I am with it. I'm not gonna lie. But business-wise, as I've already stated about Broner, we can all run out here with one of the youngest or whatever it was to reach 4 championships in 4 divisions. You can throw that out there in the introduction of a fighter, but at some point your accomplishments haunt you. At some point your accomplishments loom over your head, and when you go to do business, you go to announce a fight, there should be an obvious expectation on the level of your opponent or what the end goal is for you. And so that's one of the areas where I do get frustrated. I don't really care anymore enough to be frustrated, but that's one of the things that keeps speaking to me when I watch what's going on, or what they could attempt to do with Broner. Like, if you don't come out and talk up your business and what you want to do and how to go about doing it, then I just kind of tune in just to tune in. I care about this stuff as much as some of these fighters care about it. Like, if you don't care about your business, I'm damn sure not gonna waste my time caring about your business. It's really that simple. So, like I said, for Canelo to at least be For Canelo to have his situation from last year where he was sidelined, with the, you know, mainly because of COVID and what his guarantees are, and the whole situation with fans not being able to attend fights and whatnot, how Golden Boy handled his, you know, it had structured the agreement, their agreement with DAZN. You know, it cost him time, and he's come back making moves to, whether you like him or not. You know, whether you wrong, right, or indifferent, whether you bitter because it's not the names that some of us would like to see called, he still found solutions to what his problem was. Then I hear the other school of thought out there that, you know, belts don't matter, and fighters, especially black fighters in particular, can go. They don't need anybody. They don't need these promoters. They don't need. They can be independent too. They can do what they want to do. And the fact of the matter is, probably 99.9% of them really can't. I mean, really, with the exception of Errol Spence Jr., who seemingly, you know, ingratiated himself with the Dallas business community. It's one of the states with that's still having fans at events, still allowing that to happen. Being involved with Jerry Jones and everything associated with the Dallas Cowboy brand, and then the state economy. You know, this whole ice storm situation last week, notwithstanding that. But Errol Spence is like the only dude that can really even begin to explore some of these things. Most of these guys can't even, most of these fighters can't even, like I said, what's the play with Deontay Wilder? Not to belabor that point or kick a dead horse over there, but like I said, Canelo was dealing with some unfortunate situations and some legal matters and some constraints and so on and so forth, and the man worked through it. Here it is with Deontay Wilder. What's the plan, bro? Like, when do you move forward? How do you move forward? That's all some of us care about at this point. So again, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and downplay, you know, the significance of the fight this week with Canelo. You know, he is one of the larger names, the largest names in the sport. I'm not gonna really argue anybody any different. My interest in Canelo is modest. I am a bit excited about. I can't say the card is a strong card, but I do want to see. I am interested again in seeing Julio Martinez, the featherweight or light featherweight WBC champion, who will be the co-main event against what's his name, McWilliams Arroyo. So that's an interesting fight. And then you know, some of the prospects on there, like I said, some of these DAZN kids they have in the pipeline, Diego Pacheco, Alexis Espino, you know, they're not ready yet, but it'll be interesting to see what they do this weekend. And you know, I believe after coming off of last week with us having action on all three platforms, this weekend is just the Junior 5 fight against Joseph Parker against Junior 5. I guess that's earlier in the day. So some heavyweight action. Oh, and then also on the Canelo card is the heavyweight, Yildirim. I'm interested to see what he does against Jerry Forrester. So like I said, it's not the greatest card. But looking at it on the whole timeline and what he's trying to do next, and it's a more established fighter whose regular working schedule has been disrupted, you know, and the guy's trying to come back and have these 3 fights in the span of like 6 or 7 months. I'm somewhat intrigued. And it's not like, you know, it's not like I don't think we'll see a bad performance from Canelo. You know, I think if you're a fan of the sweet science, I think there's some entertainment value, or you know, if you just like to watch the progression of a fighter, whether he's added any new tools to the toolbox or whatever, it's something. It'll be something to watch. I mean, I don't give Abney Yildirim much of a chance. I know his trainer, I think it's Julio Diaz. Is that my man's name? I think Diaz went over to Turkey for a few weeks because Yildirim wasn't able to get over here to do camp in the States at one point in time. I think he may be over here maybe the last 2 weeks he's been in the States. But Diaz actually went over there and was working with him, you know, in his home country and whatnot. Again, I mean, they did the face-off yesterday. I saw some images on Instagram, on DAZN's Instagram account. You know, Yildirim has, you know, the standard 4 or 5 inches in height advantage over Canelo. Skill-wise, you know, he says since he's been with Diaz, he's accumulated all types of different skills and revamped his you know, his boxing style. And you know, Diaz will have some different instructions maybe than past trainers and whatnot. I mean, you can read into that as much or as little as you like to personally. Like I said, I don't know. I think, you know, for 5 or 6 rounds, it might be, it'll be a fight. I'm not gonna say it's interesting or some back and forth or whatever. For 5 or 6 rounds, it'll be some kind of fight. So, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here like a lot of the cats on YouTube. I'm not gonna sit here and poison the fight for myself and you know, sully the name of boxing and so on and so forth, and get it and just keep my coverage confined to the boxing gossip stuff. It's a big name that's going out there Saturday, and you know, I'll check it out and see what you know, what's to take from it. I didn't hear anything. I know Eddie Hearn, listening to him a couple of weeks ago, he was adamant or hopeful that he could get Billy Joe Saunders ringside for the fight. I don't know if that'll happen or not. I haven't heard anything else on that. Of course, the intention with that was that in the event that Canelo is victorious, which, you know, most of us will believe that, the intention was to have Billy Joe Saunders ringside and allow him to get into the ring after the fight, and there'd be a stare down, and, you know, there'd be a way to sell the May 8th fight. I think it's May 8th. And that's, you know what, honestly, I gotta tip my cap to Eddie Hearn for being audacious or you know, doing anything to try to bring some excitement to the game, because it's not a lot of excitement in boxing the way that it's being presented. I saw something on Twitter last night from a guy who does some promotional work in boxing, and he made some comments about the how dead the Showtime you know, the set was, where AB and Robert Easter Jr. fought the other night. You know, it's in this dark ass room. You know, they're not doing any piped in fan noise and whatnot. The graphics are all like, you know, we watching this stuff at 11 o'clock at night, after midnight. I do need some stuff to stimulate, you know, my senses, man, to help keep me awake through some of this stuff. I mean, they could step it up in some ways, and that hasn't happened. I think you know, visually, I think the situation in the bubble for ESPN, it was a little more lively in there with the lighting and they got the board, the LED screens or whatever behind the match. You can see fans' tweets popping up on the screen and whatnot. Then you have other fighters in the building who are relevant to the fight that's going on, with Shakur Stevenson being in the building, you know, Teofimo Lopez, they didn't let him talk. They didn't get him on the mic this weekend. But they interviewed most of the guys after the fight. And Elvis Rodriguez, he got on after his fight. Gabe Flores Jr. did an interview with Bernardo Osuna after his fight. I can't remember if Robert Easter Jr. talked to Custer after his fight or not, to be honest. I know he was in the post-fight press conference. But, you know, you got to go above and beyond right now to give fans and viewers a little bit more, you know, with the viewing experience. So I can't really knock Eddie for trying to be enthusiastic about his product and what he's trying to do. And actually, if we look at what's going on right now, you know, I mean, there's really no stateside coverage of this fight because it's on DAZN, because it's on the app, and there really hasn't been. And then Canelo doesn't speak, you know, he doesn't speak English publicly, so the fight is somewhat, you know, you gotta check the calendar to find out about it. I mean, DAZN has some content on there. I know their daily boxing show on Sirius XM. I think they'll start getting into more of their coverage today. Yesterday was the face that they did the standoff, the stare down. They did that in Hard Rock Stadium, just them standing in the middle of the field and whatnot, and then they threw it up on Instagram. And I guess, you know, that's somewhat consistent with it being an app. You have to promote where your platform lives, which is kind of online or in, you know, the cyber sphere or whatever you want to call it. And that's what they're kind of relegated to. But it'll be interesting to see what they do over the next couple of days. And I guess, you know, all the online magazines, they'll have some content on the YouTube channel as they get into the press conferences and whatnot. That's about it. But again, for me, as I've said it a number of times, you know, I'm not going to complain too much when it's just costing me $8.50-something. That's basically how I justify it. And then looking down the road, to keep it a buck, with whatever's going on with the PBC, there not being any schedule of any kind at the moment. I mean, beyond the Darrell and Davis fight, I don't think Showtime. I can't recall if anything is scheduled for Showtime at the moment. It looked like some other promoters might be interested in having a meeting with DAZN. You know, there might be a need for some other people to go over there and figure out a way to have fights, you know, to get some of these fighters some work. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and kind of try to predict what's going on with Fox and with Fox Sports and the PBC. I really haven't seen anything credible for me to have an opinion one way or the other, but I definitely haven't been too impressed with what Fox has done with, it doesn't seem like Fox has really tried to have any demands, or like they've been involved with when they want to get certain fighters out. It seems like they just been going through the motions over there. So I mean, if that relationship is starting to you know, take a change for the worse, and maybe it's some thoughts of parting ways, the PBC could need to go do something. But you know, obviously Top Rank looks a little better this week, coming off of a big show with Valdez and Burchelt, and you know, the dramatic ending on that one. So but like I said yesterday or Sunday on the live stream, you know, with them closing down the bubble, what's next for them? They do have a fight with Emmanuel Navarrete with Christopher Diaz. I think they're looking for a host site for that. We did hear the article on Boxing Scene yesterday about Aaron being more willing to get to work to figure out a next move for Terrence Crawford, knowing that they're on the clock for October for Crawford to be able to become a free agent and whatnot. Again, I don't know what you put in, how much stock you put into that article or not, with Bob supposedly exploring fights for either Manny Pacquiao or for Sean Porter. But the one thing, I guess the only thing that the one silver lining in that announcement is I do think that Bob is still in the game to figure out how to make some money off of a situation. And if there's a dollar to be made, you might as well make it before you lose the guy, potentially. Or you make a play to try to keep the guy. I don't know. But I'm just saying, some people want to report and present the game like the sky is falling and nothing is going right. Everything is in disarray and everything is shit. Nobody knows how to do their job. I'm kind of an optimist that, like I said, I think Bob will look at the situation and see, well, maybe we can't get that Spence fight, or maybe the numbers don't look right or don't look favorable enough for him to try to make the Spence fight. And so he said, he's going to let his son-in-law take over promoting Terrence Crawford, and he didn't want nothing to do with it. But you get off the microphone and from in front of the camera and cooler heads prevail, and you start looking at plan Bs, and maybe you see another play to make. Like I started the live stream out with, I'm about looking for the dudes that's finding solutions to the problems in boxing. And that's why I said I'm not too down on this Canelo fight this week, because if you're watching what Canelo is trying to tell for the whole, for his year, the way that he's trying to set up his entire year, then you can look forward to all of that. Or, there's some expectations to have, or there's some interest in that. If he gets past, which he will, if he gets past Yildirim, what's going to happen against Billy Joe Saunders? And like I said before, I'm interested in that fight. I think Billy Joe Saunders can box well enough to make that fight interesting. Is he powerful? Does he have enough power to, for me to have him as my favorite, or is his boxing skills great enough for me to have him as my favorite going into that? Not really, but I think it's some interesting things that Billy Joe Saunders does. If I'm being unbiased about it, I think it's something that he does. And again, until I can get the fights that I would like to see from Canelo, it's the best that I can get. So I'm getting ready to get on off of here. Go ahead and get these people their value for their money and whatnot. So that's it, man. Like I said, it's Canelo Yildirim fight week. Make of it what you want, or take the weekend off and go do something else. Go do something else this week. Hang out with the wife, hang out with the family. Go visit your in-laws or something. I don't know. But anyway, man, bite down boxing. Don't let them count you out. Pay me no mind, sports and entertainment. Please hit that like button if you was rocking with me for a few minutes and dug the way that anything was being presented. Let me get on out of here. Have a great day.